Hey guys, it's me, Liesel from Langmaster Learning System. In today's lesson, we'll continue practicing listening to stories. I believe that these simple stories are really good for beginners. Now, before we start, I really hope that you guys have subscribed to this wonderful channel.
Mom's First Love. Mummy, I can't sleep. Could you please tell me a story? Linda asked her mum. Sure, dear. Let me think. Oh, I have a very interesting story for you. It's about me and your father. Do you want to listen? Her mom said. Yes, of course. Tell me, please. I'm all ears. All right. Here is how the story goes. As you already know, your dad and I were good friends in high school. We hung out with each other all the time. But one day, I went to your dad's house after school to get my homework back, which I let your father borrow. When I was going, his dad saw me and invited me in. We had a good time getting to know one another. From that day on, I felt that your granddad really liked me. He always told your dad to bring me gifts and stuff. And I knew exactly what he was up to. He wanted his son to go on a date with me. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't have any feelings for your dad. So, I no longer went to play with your dad. Until one day, I decided to pay a visit to your grandmom's house. I had to take a train to get there. When I was at the train station, I saw your dad. He was looking around, and in his hands was a very beautiful bouquet of red roses. And I thought, oh no! He wants to express his love to me. I was embarrassed. So I hid behind a wall where I thought he could not see me. My train was ready to depart. I had to leave my hiding space to board the train. But just as I got on the train, he caught sight of me. He yelled as loud as he could, but I still pretended that I did not hear a word from him. Oh my gosh, Mom, poor Dad, Linda said. Yeah, I still feel bad about it. I should not have ignored him and left him there. At that time, we did not have personal telephones, so we lost contact for years. Luckily, since we were born for each other, I finally met your dad 5 years later. 5 years? Wow! such a long time, Mom. That's right. It was long enough for me to recognize the feelings I had for him. Then we started dating and got married. The end. Darling, you can go to sleep now. Thanks, Mom. What a lovely story. I feel sleepy now. Night, night. Okay, good night and sweet dreams. The security. Yesterday was Olivia's graduation ceremony. As it was her last day of school, she dressed up and put on makeup. Everyone in her class would take pictures together. Olivia put 2 bottles of water, a small and handy electric fan, and an umbrella in her bag. Then her dad took her to school in his car. When they arrived, she got out of the car and noticed that the schoolyard was blazing in the sun. Students that arrived at school would immediately run to the school hall in order to avoid the harsh sunlight outside. The school was very crowded, as not only were all the students there, but parents also attended the important ceremony. Moreover, there were many cars and bicycles in the schoolyard. Whew! The security man must be very busy today, Olivia thought. She then turned her head in the security guard's direction. He was a middle-aged, tall and skinny man. If anyone looked at his face at that moment, then they would see how tired he was. He has to work in the hot sun for several hours, at least until the ceremony ended. Olivia felt very sorry for him. She decided to give him her small fan and umbrella, with the hope that they could somehow help him survive the heat. When Olivia gave them to the security guard, he was very grateful. Olivia was also pleased, as she did a very special thing on one of the most meaningful days of her life. On the trip back home. Today, Rose is very happy, as she can return home to visit her parents. She is a university student, and her school is located at the center of the city. Her house is in the suburbs on the outskirts of the city. She rents a room in the center of town, close to her university. Normally, Rose goes back home once a week. However, this month, since she had a very important exam, she had to spend all her time studying and could not visit her family. today her exam is over and she finally has free time to return home. Rose is very excited. She bought some gifts for her mum, her dad, and her little sister. Rose packs her stuff and goes to the bus station. As it is the weekend, there are many people at the bus station. Maybe they are also going to visit their hometown. When the bus arrives, Rose is lucky enough to have a seat to herself. It is quite a long trip home, and it would be very tiring for Rose to stand the whole way there. After a bit of time, Rose notices a very old lady standing behind her seat, and that nobody has given up their seats for the old lady to sit. Without even thinking about it, Rose immediately stands up and asks the old lady to swap places with her. The old lady says thank you to Rose for her kindness. Rose has to stand for nearly 2 hours. Despite this, she doesn't feel at all tired. When she arrives home, she tells us to her parents. They all give Rose a compliment, as her wise act shows that she did not choose to think only of herself. Sharing. Last Sunday morning, Luna's mum came home from a business trip. Her mother brought some gifts for Luna and her younger sister. She bought each of them 2 pairs of new shoes. Luna and her sister were very happy. They kept trying on the shoes and walking around all day in them. The next morning, as usual, Luna went to school on foot. She saw a very young child. She looked even younger than Luna. She wore an old shirt with many big and small holes in it. The child must be very poor, thought Luna, because she is out on the street with no shoes on her feet. Hey, where is your house? Why are you on the road barefoot like this? She said to the child. I live near here. My mom says that she cannot afford to buy a pair of shoes for me. Oh, then take mine, said Luna. Oh, wow. I love your shoes. Look how beautiful they are. The kid took a look at her shoes. My mom gave them to me yesterday. If you want, you can have them. I have another pair of shoes at my house. No worries, Luna smiled. Oh, you're so generous. God bless you. Then that child wore Luna's shoes and happily went back home. However, Luna could not go to school barefoot, so she returned to her house to take the other pair of shoes. "Why are you home, darling?" her mom asked. "Mom, I saw a very poor girl on the street, so I gave her my shoes. Please don't be mad at me," Luna said in fear. "Oh, my child, how can I get mad? You did the right thing. I'm so proud of you." Her mom gave her a hug. "I love the choice you made. Now, put on the other new shoes. I'll take you to school. I don't want you to be late," her mom said. "Okay, Mom. I have my shoes on. Let's go."
The Greedy Entrepreneur. In a very far away village, there were two entrepreneurs. One was very well known for his kindness, but the other had a very bad reputation. People said he was a cheapskate. The rich entrepreneur always donated his gold to help poor villagers, but the other entrepreneur would never give others a single penny. This is how things continued, until one day a famine occurred because of a severe drought. The fields were barren, and there was nothing to harvest. This brought so much misery to the villagers. The poor became more miserable than ever. Because they lacked money, they had nothing to fill their empty stomachs. Seeing this state of affairs, the well-off entrepreneur decided to give away all the sacks of rice that he had in his warehouse to each and every poor family who could no longer bear with the famine. Due to his kind act, many lives were saved. However, all of his rice and gold could not help the whole village. Therefore, one night, he decided to ask for the help of the other entrepreneur. But it was no use, because that greedy man only cared for himself. He immediately denied helping others. Unexpectedly, on that night, the greedy entrepreneur's house got robbed. The greedy man now had to face his worst nightmare. He asked others for help, but no one gave him a hand. Only the kind entrepreneur agreed to help him. The greedy man was very grateful. He asked the kind entrepreneur to give him work. The good entrepreneur knew this man was very talented, so he agreed. From then on, they worked very hard together, and they came up with an idea to help the poor village survive the famine. Thanks to their brilliant plan, the situation in the village got
better with every day that passed. People no longer hated the rich and selfish entrepreneur. He was a changed man. He realized his mistakes because he was in the same boat as the other poor villagers. Later on, when he earned more money and became more wealthy again, he used his fortune to help other people. The hospital. Thomas was a final year student of a medical university. He had to finish an internship course by the end of the month. This course was at a nursing home. While there, Thomas met a very special boy. His name was Tim. He was younger than Thomas and always went to the nursing home to take care of the patients whenever he had free time. The wonderful thing is that all the elderly patients in the nursing home liked Tim very much. One day, Thomas asked this boy why he spent so much of his time there, and his answer surprised him. Tim said, years ago, when he was young and immature, he was always angry with his granddad. They constantly had trouble communicating. His granddad was a hot-tempered man, and so they did not talk much because there was usually a fight afterwards. Until one day, his granddad was diagnosed with a fatal disease. This boy was shocked and very sad. He tried to spend more time taking care of his granddad. As Tim made more of an effort with conversations with his granddad, so they had a chance to understand one another better. Unfortunately, his granddad passed away after 3 months of fighting the disease. This made Tim regret his attitude towards his granddad in the past. Tim realized that old people really need someone who can understand them. And that is the reason why Tim came here. He wanted to be friends with these elderly patients. Thomas felt very touched by Tim's story. From then on, Thomas tried his best to understand more about each elderly person he took care of. And in the end, he had a very meaningful internship. The contest. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom ruled by a very wise and wholehearted king. Every year, the king would host a contest to find a young talent to help him with the kingdom's affairs. In a small village in the northern area of the land was a kind young man who also wanted to join the contest. He prepared day and night to ensure that he would do his best at the contest. On the day that the contest occurred, everyone flooded to the king's palace. As the northern village was very far from the palace, the young man woke up at the crack of dawn, packed his stuff, and got on his way. However, while going through a forest, he met an old lady who had a very big scar on her forehead. She was having trouble with her tent. Since she lived all alone in the forest, there was nobody around to help her. "Oh, young man, my tent has collapsed. I don't know what to do." "Don't worry, I will help you with this," the young man immediately said. And so he started to fix the broken tent. When he finished, the sun had already gone down, which meant that the contest was over. The young man was very upset, but he did not at all regret his actions, because if given a second chance, he still would have chosen to help the old lady. And so he went back home. It was a very busy day for the respected king. He was exhausted, so he took a snooze on his golden table. While sleeping, he had a very strange dream. He saw an old lady who had a very big scar on her forehead. She said the king had to reopen the contest because he overlooked a very talented young man. He was humble and kind, and if the king had chosen him, the kingdom would thrive and be more peaceful than ever. After waking up from the dream, the king made a decision which he had never made before: to reopen the contest. After hearing the news, the young and kind man was very excited. He immediately came to join the contest. 2 weeks passed, and the king announced the final decision. Luckily, the young man was the one who won. From then on, he tried his best to help the king and his people overcome famine and thieves. The king then knew, thanks to that dream, his kingdom and he had found a talent. Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving. Andy's family is going to have a small party to celebrate this special event. Andy and his mum made a big roast chicken alongside with a lot of homemade cakes, pies, and food. It took them more than 2 hours to finish everything. Then they started to clean the house to welcome the guests. However, when it's close to the time that the party is going to happen, Andy saw a poor beggar with his daughter sitting on the pavement across the road. Andy immediately ran into the kitchen to tell his mom, "Mom, I saw a very poor beggar. He's with his daughter. It would be so nice if we could do something for them. Could we share some love by giving them something to eat?" "Oh, darling, I like your idea. Let me see. Here, take this pie and some of this food. I will put it into a nice box for them, and then you go give it to them, okay?" His mom kindly smiled. "Ah, that's so great, Mom. You're the best." "Oh, my child. Here, you can go now." "Wow, it looks amazing." "They will be very glad." Then Andy took the gift box to give to the beggar. "Mom, they kept saying thanks to me. I could feel how happy they were." "You did a nice thing today, my child. I love the way you care for others. Now, thanks to your kindness, they also have a lovely Thanksgiving together." "Thanks, Mom, but I don't think we have enough food for our own guests." "Don't worry, my son. I've ordered some delicious food." "What?" "That's amazing, Mom. Thanks for always supporting me." Andy hugged his mother tight. And that night, they did have a lovely evening with their friends and neighbors. A vintage photo. Today, Elisa came to visit her grandpa. He was 81 years old. Elisa prepared a very special gift for him. It was an old photo of him taken when he was in the army. Elisa had the original vintage photo restored and colorized. Her grandpa broke down into tears when seeing the photo, as it reminded him of his companions and old friends in the army. He was very touched. For him, this was the best gift ever. Dad. Peter's dad was a hard worker who always buried himself in work. He went to work at the crack of dawn and only came back home at midnight. For this reason, he did not pay attention to family affairs. This made Peter sad because his dad always forgot important things, such as his birthday and his graduation at school. Peter's mom knew Peter was upset, and so she tried to explain to Peter that his dad must work hard because he was the breadwinner of the family. Peter could be more sympathetic towards him, as his dad had to work hard to take care of the family. First date. Today was Anna's very first date. She felt so worried and excited at the same time. She spent a great deal of time to choose a suitable dress. She then spent even more time doing her hair and makeup. The one she was going on a date with was her best friend from high school. She has had a crush on him for years. So Anna was extremely happy to be going out with a guy who was very special for her. Meeting. Thomas had to prepare for a very important meeting with his clients in order to convince his clients to join his project. He had to prepare slides and a PowerPoint presentation to show them the benefits of doing so. Thomas was very nervous because this was a golden opportunity for him to improve his career path. He stayed up all night and practiced over and over again. He hoped his effort would pay off, as he really did not want to miss this chance. Cafe. Blue Dragon was Liz's favorite cafe. She went there every Sunday morning to drink a cappuccino. Blue Dragon was a suitable place for working. It was very quiet, which helped Liz focus on her tasks more easily and get her work done. New dish. Chris invited his friends to his house for dinner because it's his birthday. He wanted to treat his friends to Indian food because he just learned how to make a very special Indian dish from the internet yesterday. And he decided to give it a try. This morning, he went to the supermarket to buy some potatoes, garlic, onions, butter, spices, and so many other things. Back in his kitchen, he followed the recipe that he found online and spent a total of 2 hours on the dish. However, when he tasted it, it was a disaster. It turns out that he had forgotten to add the special Indian spices. He could not treat his friends to the Indian food as he had hoped. Instead, he decided to order some tasty chicken and French fries for him and his friends to enjoy. A brave boy. Deep inside the great forest, there was a boy living with his mother. His mother had been blind for many years. One day, his mother caught a fever. She fell very ill. Her son worried a lot about her. He did not know how to help his mother get rid of the fever. He did not know who to ask for help. He sat under a big old tree and started to cry. "Hey, little boy, why are you here? Why are you crying?" Suddenly, the boy heard the voice of a strange old man. "My mum, she is very ill from a strange disease. Oh, I'm so afraid that she does not have much time left. Oh, no." "Calm down, little boy. There is a way to help your mum, but it comes at a price," the old man calmly said. "Really? What is it? Oh, please tell me," the boy said in a hurry. The old man took out 2 small bottles. There was some liquid in each. "If your mum drinks these bottles, she will never get sick again," the old man said. "Really? Oh, could you please give it to me?" the boy begged the old man. Yes, but I need something from you in return." "Oh, what is it that you need from me?" the boy asked. "For the first bottle, I need one of your hands." The boy was very scared, but because of his mom, he accepted the request. That day, he went back home. "Mom, please drink this. I made this juice for you." "Oh, that's so lovely, my child. It tastes great." "Are you tired?" his mom asked. She suspected something unusual about her son's behavior. "No, Mom, don't worry, I'm okay," the boy said. He had lost his left hand, and the wound made him feel sick. Despite this, he tried his best to act normal in front of his mother. After drinking the juice, his mum immediately felt much better. The boy then knew it was because of the magic liquid he got yesterday. On the next day, he went out to find the strange old man again. "I want to get the second dose for my mum." "Are you sure, kid?" Yes. What do you want this time?" This time, I need one of your legs." The boy agreed to give his leg to take the second bottle. After drinking the magic liquid one more time, his mom fully recovered. The son was very happy. But because of the wounds he had, he became weaker and weaker every day, until one day his wounds became very bad. He fainted when he was out in the forest. At that very moment, inside his head, he heard the voice of the strange old man again. "Ah, what a kind boy. You agreed to let me take your hand and leg to save your mum's life. There is nothing braver than that."
I have a little gift for you. I hope you will enjoy it." Then, when the boy woke up, he was back in his room, and to his surprise, he still had both of his hands and both of his legs. He ran out of his room to find his mother. "Mom, Mom, you're finally awake. Mom, what happened? Can you see?" the boy said. "Yes, isn't it magical? When I woke up, I didn't know where you were. I was very worried, but then I heard a sound in our small yard, so I went out to check what it was. Then I saw you there. At that very moment, my eyesight returned." So it turns out that it was not a dream. This was the little gift he received from the strange old man he met in the forest. From then on, they lived happily together. Stepmom. Once upon a time, there was a family of 3 people made up of a young boy who stayed with his stepmother and her little son. The father of the little boy died from an accident which happened when he was cutting wood out in the forest. The last words his father said to this firstborn son was to make sure to take good care of his stepmom and her son. Therefore, the son always tried his best to keep his promise to his dad. However, things would never be that easy. His stepmother was so cruel to him. He was often punished by her. His body was full of scars, big and small. However, he did not complain or breathe a word about this to anyone. He did all the hard work he could for them and tried his best to take good care of his little brother. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he tried, his stepmother did not change the way she treated him. One day, peril came. It happened when the boy went to the river nearby to wash their clothes. He heard the desperate yelling of his stepmom and cries of his little brother. He immediately ran back to their house, and what appeared in front of him was a big tiger. The tiger tried to attack the stepmom and her son. The young boy, without a second thought, jumped onto the back of the tiger and started to fight with it. The stepmom and her child were scared to death. The young boy was finally able to take the tiger out, but he suffered serious wounds. After the incident, the stepmother felt regretful about how she had treated him in the past. She stayed up all night long to take care of him and look after his wounds. After a week, the boy finally woke up. His stepmom sighed in relief. She hugged him tightly. "Oh, thanks, my child. Oh, if you did not show up, we would have died. Oh, you're the bravest child I've ever met. Oh, I'm sorry for what I did in the past. Will you forgive me? I promise I will never treat you that way ever again," the stepmom said. The child happily accepted. From then on, the icy atmosphere inside the family no longer existed. They took good care of each other. The brave young boy finally had what he deserved. New Year's Eve. Today is the last day of 2021. Alex and her mum have decided to clean up their house until it's spotless.
Oh, it's gonna be a busy day, Mum, Alex said.
That's right, darling. Now, you go upstairs and clean your room first, her mum replied. Alex went up to her room and started by cleaning her desk. After 1 hour, Alex went downstairs carrying 2 huge nylon bags. Honey, what are those? Her mum asked. They're my old textbooks and notebooks. I no longer use them, Mum. Perhaps I'll throw them away? Oh, Let me think. How about this? You give me all these books and notebooks. I'll wait for the trash collector to come by. She has a lovely son who is 5 years younger than you. I think we can give this stuff to him, her mum said. That's a brilliant idea. I'd love to. Mum, you're so caring and thoughtful. Alex is very glad. Alex, books are priceless items that we can't just throw away. They can always be of benefit to someone. There are many children and students out there who wish that they had these books. Remember, next time, if you don't know how to deal with these unused books or papers, just tell me and we'll figure it out together, her mum said gently. Yes, Mum, I will remember. Thank you so much. I have learned something very special today, Mum. Alex smiled. And so Alex's mum gives all the books away to the trash collector, who is very appreciative. Alex and her family have done a very meaningful deed today. The special gift. There was 1 month left till New Year's Eve. Mike wanted to prepare a special gift for his granddad. His granddad had terrible hearing problems, so Mike wanted to buy him a hearing aid. He searched on many websites to find the best suited item. Oh my gosh, it costs a whole month's salary. Mike was shocked when he saw the price of the equipment. Okay, I have to work my finger to the bone in order to afford this hearing aid, Mike thought. He wanted to buy the best hearing aid
for his beloved granddad. Hence, Mike created a detailed working plan. He would have some night shifts, along with some days working overtime. It was a very busy month for Mike. He was up to his ears with work. On the day his salary and perks were transferred to his bank account, Mike immediately went to the store and bought the hearing aid. He was very excited and could not help himself from thinking about his granddad's reactions when he handed him this gift. New Year's Eve finally arrived. Mike gift-wrapped his gift carefully. He also prepared a lovely card for his grandpa. Mike, a gift for me? That's so lovely. His grandpa was very glad. Grandpa, please open it. I bet you'll like it a lot, Mike said. Okay. Let me open this lovely gift of yours. Oh, wow. A hearing aid? Oh, Mike, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. It must have been very expensive. How did you afford to buy it? His grandpa said. Oh, don't worry, Granddad. This item was on sale. It didn't cost me a lot, Mike answered. Really? That's great. I love this gift so much. You always surprise me. He then hugged Mike tightly. Because of this gift, Mike's granddad's hearing loss was no longer a problem for him. And they had a lovely New Year's Eve together. Christmas night. There is a myth among people about Christmas night. The myth entails a man called Santa Claus, who would visit every household through a small chimney in the roof. He would give a present to each child in the house he visited. People thought that Santa made each and every present all by himself. Well, it was not true. His elves did it. Allie was the youngest elf working for Santa Claus. To be quite honest, he didn't love Christmas Eve like everyone else. Let me tell you why. He had to work very hard to make all the presents on time, to please every child in the world. But he, Allie, the young elf, received nothing. This thought urged him to leave the present-making factory. So, before Christmas night came, he left the factory.
Meanwhile, Santa paid attention to the number of elves and noticed that one elf was missing. He soon realized that it was Allie. Working with each other for more than 10 years, Santa understood every elf in his factory. He knew Allie was the youngest elf in the factory. And so he immediately understood the problem. Santa went out to the snow forest, which he knew was Allie's favorite spot. "Are you okay, my dear child?" Santa asked. "Oh, Santa Claus, why are you here? You should be wrapping gifts at the factory right now." "Well, that's true, my dear, but I noticed that one little elf has been missing." "So you came to find me? To take me back to the factory and continue making presents?" the elf said. "No, child, I have something for you." He pulled out a small box in his pocket and gave it to Allie. "What is that?" asked Allie. "Your gift. I especially made this one for you. Ho, ho, ho." "For me?" The elf gave Santa a surprised look. He immediately opened the box, in which was an album filled with pictures of children from all around the world. They were all so happy while holding the presents that Allie had made. When looking at all their happy faces, Allie realized how important his job was. Besides the photo album, there was also a blanket made of wool. He wore the blanket Santa made him and got back to his work in a very happy mood. John's dream. John is an 18-year-old guy. He's currently studying at a college located in his village. Every day after school hours, he rides his old bicycle to a rice field. In this particular spot, he can see airplanes passing by, flying in the sky. John has a dream that he will one day be able to travel to different locations around the world when he grows up. A panda. A little girl named Anna visited the zoo with her parents. There, she saw a family of pandas. Anna greeted the pandas with a wave. It made her think about her family. Her mother would be the big panda lying behind the fence. Her father would be the panda playing with the small panda. And she, of course, would be the little panda, cute as can be. They all looked so happy. It's good to have a family. How to be happy? Alice and Thomas have been married for 2 months. They fight a lot. So there's often an ill feeling between them. Alice is very upset. So she asks one of her best friends, who gets along fine with her husband, for advice. After hearing Alice's story, her best friend shares with her the secret to a happy family. It is not to seek our partner's demerits, and only to look for their goodness instead. Her friend makes an example. If you see your husband sweeping the floor, maybe he does it in a way that you don't like for it to be done. But remember, he does housework as he wants to keep the house clean. Why not compliment him instead of scolding him? In this way, he would have the motivation to do it better. There are so many different ways to tell somebody to do or not to do something other than yelling at each other. If they do something wrong, we can simply tell them to do it right while staying calm. Because if you speak while you're angry, you will make the best speech you'll ever regret.
That's all. Thank you so much for joining me today. And now do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you want to join our amazing English classes or want to know more information, please leave your contacts in the comment box below. Once again, thank you so much for learning with us. I'll see you in the next lesson.